everyone, and welcome to another video from the Tiny Menagerie. Killifish are a wide and varied group and have been popular in the aquarium hobby for a long time, thanks to their relative ease of keeping, small size, and a rather individual expression. And the Fundulo-Panchax gardneri, also known as the steel blue killifish, blue lyre-tail killifish, or just Gardner's killifish, are perhaps the most well known thanks to the males in particular, as they have a stunning display with an incredible range of colours. But what are Gardner's killifish like to keep, and what kind of setup do they need? Well, Gardners hail from Africa, around Nigeria and Cameroon, where they live rather short lives in the unpredictable waters of streams and brooks and small ponds in a wide range of habitats, from the driest of savannas right the way through to the dense tropical forests. These are not an annual species like some of the killifish available, and well looked after they can live for 3 or 4 years. In terms of their preferred tank design though, Gardners are a very brave species, and I have found they are perfectly happy in even the barest of tanks, just so long as you have a reasonable sized group of them with at least 6 individuals. This way they seem to be far more interested in flaring and showing off to each other, rather than being worried about any passing predators. Although they certainly display their best colours in a slightly dimmer, more heavily planted tank, as the males can be a little bit peppery when they're displaying, and they can also be very harassing of the females, it is worth making sure they have enough decorations in them for individuals to be able to get away from each other when they need to. Equally though, Gardner's killies really don't need to be kept in a group. They only grow to about 3 inches for a very large male, and as they don't shoal, a pair of them can be kept very comfortably in a 40-litre tank, although of course if you're thinking about keeping more of a group rather than a pair, you will need a larger tank. Species exhibits a very strong sexual dimorphism, with males having the vibrant coloration, while the females are a little bit more drab, although even they do display some very nice red dots along their flanks as well. Also, it's worth noting that while the males will always be stunning, they really do put on their best dress when they have a female or two that they can show off to. So while the rather drab females might not be the most dazzling, the effect that they have on the males makes them more than worth their place in the tank. In fact, if you have too many males in the group, this can lead to bullying, and so it is well worth keeping a ratio of at least 2 females to every male if you're looking at keeping a group rather than a pair. Gardners do very well in a wide range of different water conditions, with a pH anywhere between 6 and 8 and a temperature somewhere between 20 and 28. Although, when it comes to water flow, these are not the strongest of swimmers, and so they do prefer either a very, very slow flow or a perfectly still tank, perhaps just with a sponge filter. But one thing you will definitely need for your tank is a lid. Gardner's killies are prodigious and determined jumpers. In fact, every fish I have ever lost has just mysteriously vanished one day, never to be seen again, which basically translates as jumped out and got caught by the cat. This is very likely to be an evolutionary trait to help them find other pools of water or in search of new mates or to escape from an evaporating puddle, but it doesn't do them any good at all in a living room, so best to make sure your tank has a securely fitted lid. Apart from being jumpers though, Gardner's killies are a delightfully entertaining species to watch. Give them a nice spawning mop and the males will be showing off and trying to claim it as their own, which I have also found actually reduces their desire to wander and thus jump out of the tank. Females will do a very fine job of looking like they're investigating places to lay their eggs, while I suspect they're actually just looking for eggs to eat that have already been laid there, even if those eggs are very likely to be the ones that she laid there this morning. And Gardner's killies are extremely easy to breed. The females will lay eggs pretty much every single day, and they don't need to reach adult size before they start doing so. These eggs are very pale yellow, and they are really quite strong and quite easy to pick off and transfer to a nursery tank, where they'll take around 2 to 3 weeks before they hatch. Worth noting though, if you don't separate those eggs away, all the fry will be eaten by the adults as they have no parental instinct at all. Gardner's killies can certainly be kept with other fish. They are a perfectly peaceful community species, just so long as those tank mates are not inclined to nip fins, as those wafting yellow edges on the male's tail will probably prove far too tempting. But any of the very small, peaceful species, like little gouramis or the other small killies, will do just fine. Adult shrimps are perfectly safe with Gardner's killies, although they will consume anything small enough that they can swallow, and so shrimplets will certainly be on the menu. And as like with a lot of other killies too, Gardners have a remarkably wide mouth for their size, and so even shrimplets up to about 1 centimetre in length would be at risk of being eaten if they're found, so don't expect your shrimp to have any luck with breeding if they're in a tank with killies. Other than shrimps though, Gardners do primarily feed from the surface of the water, and they will take pretty much anything that they can swallow, although I have found them to be a little bit picky about foods that they don't know yet. They tend to spit things out until they get used to it. And as they're not exactly the fastest of feeders, and they can be a little bit shy around very large or very boisterous fish, you will need to keep an eye on them just to make sure they are getting their share. Overall though, Gardner's killies are a hardy species that's easy to keep and relatively easy to breed as well. Just make sure you've got a tight fitting lid so that they actually stay where they are supposed to be. Anywho though, I hope you've enjoyed this little video all about Gardner's killifish. Happy fish keeping everyone, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye!